Always love talking to Angela Levin about all things royal, of course. She has literally written the book on Queen Camilla and knows oh so much about the inner workings of the House of Windsor. She joins us now from merry old England. How are you, Angela?
Fine, thank you. Very cold England, but I'm quite merry.
Well, we'll make the most of the time before the gas ends up running out and it ends up costing you $1 trillion. So we'll do our best here. OK, now, what about this, that we hear that there are creative differences that has seen the person who is making the Harry and Meghan show for Netflix walk away from the project? Geez, I wonder which one they're having problems with.
Yes, it's been going on a very long time now. After the Queen passed away, they decided that they wanted to change things and they wanted to have the documentary after Christmas. And I think that Netflix are fed up to hear with them, and they've said, no, we're going ahead. Now, it's a difficult one because they think they're so grand, they can control everybody. And if Meghan says no, then it must be no. Harry said before the wedding, what Meghan wants, Meghan gets. So that's their side. And the other side are saying, you know, we've given you 18 million, 20 million, who knows how much they've had. And we're going to do it our way. And we don't want a soft, soppy documentary. We want something hard, which is meaningful and, you know, attacks. So it's very interesting. I've just heard this morning that it's coming out on the 6th of December. I don't know if that's really true, but it'll be, I think maybe the royal family will be pleased because it'll be before Christmas. And if they are ghastly about them, perhaps hopefully they will withdraw any invitations.
But of course, it's a 1-2 punch. Let's imagine that is the case, that it's early December for the TV show. The book comes out early January. So it's going to be one hell of a couple of months for the royal family, even if they somehow jag a Christmas invite.
Yes. Again, you know, the person who's ghosted it for Harry is a specialist in writing about the difficulties between sons and their awful fathers. That's what he's known for. So I can't imagine that it's all going to be soft and sweet and any gratitude at all. We've had enough of them, absolutely enough moaning and groaning. And have you heard about the award they're going to get?
I love this, where they end up getting an award for calling out institutional racism by calling out the royal family. Literally, nobody has been least deserving an award since Obama got the Nobel Peace Prize for just not being George Bush. They are getting an award for literally doing nothing.
Yes, well, they moan a lot, but otherwise that's it. Now, what I say is that how many people do we know within the royal family? How many examples have we got of them being even the slightest bit racist? There's only one, and that is Harry himself, where he wore a swastika on his sleeve when he went to a fancy dress party and absolutely attacking a soldier when he was training who came from Pakistan. Now, if anybody needs to be called a racist, or behaved like a racist, that is definitely Harry. I mean, it is outrageous they're getting it. The other thing about the racist thing is only that one member of the royal family said they wondered what colour skin Archie would have. Archie is now 3. And that, you know, people might say, what colour hair is he having? His father's gingered hair. There's more interest in that than other people who've got dull brown hair like me. And it's just terrible, actually, because Meghan told Oprah Winfrey that there was several conversations. When Harry came later, because Meghan occupied it, of course, for 45 minutes and Harry came on the last bit, he said, oh, no, this was before we were married. Now, have you ever heard of anybody saying before a couple are married, what colour will your children's skin be? They don't know if they're getting engaged, if they're getting married. They don't know if they can have children. I mean, it's a nonsense, isn't it? It's a non-starter. But that's what it is. This award for heroism is for absolutely nothing. It's for the Oprah Winfrey interview, which doesn't have any proof. There were over 30 lies in that interview. The other thing they complain about is not understanding mental health. Well, since Harry and William and Catherine had a platform about mental health. I don't believe that's right. There's loads of doctors wandering around who would be there to help. Harry was still having treatment for his own mental health. Why didn't he do anything? He felt ashamed. Thank you, Harry. But she was nearly 40 when she was pregnant. And in the UK, women of that age have to see their obstetrician every 3 or 4 weeks. So why didn't she say? The obstetrician is bound to have said, "How are you feeling, dear?" or "Madam," or anything like that. And she could have said. So this is quite obviously, I'm not saying she wasn't depressed, but it's not the fault of the palace at all. And it outrages me. I can't tell you. They've got their fame, they've got their fortune because of the royal family. And it's hundreds of millions, isn't it? And it's just too ghastly for words that they behave like sport teenagers.
But also, we're getting a bit of a sign that interest might be waning. The Spotify podcast that Meghan puts out, where she moans about all things all the time, is now down to 22nd most popular on their list, easily beaten by daily news podcasts. And the latest episode is down to 77, where it's beaten by, among other things, lullabies. So maybe people are starting to vote with their ears.
I hope so. The interesting thing is that people are fed up with just hearing it's all about Meghan. When she interviewed, well, the other thing is that she apparently doesn't interview many of the people. She's believed not to even have interviewed the Canadian Prime Minister's wife. She can't be bothered with that, you see. The reason for the podcast would seem to be she's got a wonderful opportunity to find another grievance or to say how wonderful she is, or that someone in the royal family said to her, "You must keep on doing the charities you're doing. The world needs you." Again, we don't have a name. Again, before she was married to Harry, she did a little, not enough for the world to say she must really do it. So we're full of nonsense, and I'm very, very pleased that this is happening in America as well as the UK, because it's really enough. I think they've blown it now. I really think they've blown it with accepting this award. Harry is accepting an award for absolutely saying his family is absolutely racist. That is just too terrible for words. How can he take the money? Meghan
it's not like he hasn't
have
had enough, gold trinkets in his life, and certainly doesn't have enough money to buy them if he wants to himself. He can go to a trophy shop and call himself, world's greatest spare if he wants to. Terrible name for a book. Angela, is it true that the Parliament in the UK may well investigate legislation to maybe take away their royal titles?
Yes, I'm really pleased about this. Now, it's interesting because a Labour MP, Labour aren't in power, it's Conservatives who are in power, but a Labour MP has asked for a private members bill, and this bill is to take away royal titles. Now, this Labour MP is an MP for York. It's a city in the north. And because there's been such so many people in York who don't want Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, to have their name because it's spoiling the image of the city, right? Now, it's past one. It's going to be heard again in Parliament in the middle of December. And if that goes through, it means that King Charles can choose that law to get rid of Harry and Meghan's title as well. It won't be just confined to Andrew. And I can't wait. I just hope it will go through. There was a rumour from the House of Lords yesterday who felt that it was outrageous that he was getting this honour of being a hero. And I think that might push it forward even more than it is at the moment. And I hope that's it. Let them live their lives. Let them do what they want, but not connected with the royal family. They're clinging onto the royal family. They hate it, but they're clinging onto their titles. I mean, it's just nonsensical.
Yeah, it's almost like they're addicted to the privilege, let alone their meal ticket. And finally, Angela, Jeffrey Epstein, thankfully no longer with us. But of course, his association with Prince Andrew and Prince Andrew's association with Jeffrey Epstein is still bringing news as well as disgrace to the Queen's son. Apparently, Jeffrey Epstein, one of the reasons why he wanted to have close ties to Andrew was to be able to, frankly, shake down the Queen.
Yes, he obviously felt that if he had the connection with Andrew and whatever they did together or didn't do together, he came to a lot of big do's that the royal family had at Andrew's invitation. But his aim, so I read as well, that he thought that he could get loads of money by threatening of what he could say about Andrew. Now, we don't know anything that he's going to say might be true, but he was after the Queen. That shows you what a ghastly man Epstein was. As if we didn't know before, we did, but this just really finishes it off, doesn't it?
Yeah, just another exclamation point, which is next to the underline, which is next to the bold print. And speaking of print, make sure that you read Angela's book about Queen Camilla. Thank you very much, Angela. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.